Come by my place. Ooh. All right, morning world. Today is Sunday, November 10th, 2024. Day before Veterans Day. Greetings to all my fellow veterans. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to do a quick update video, and since apparently it's been 2 months since the last video. Honestly, the last year, I've been kind of lost. Honestly, I just didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So, we're going to fix that today. Website across the bottom, phone number. For sale! Mountain View Properties. Dash Rick. Come by my place. Ooh. County Road. Power lines available. Alright, so we're on Wells Fargo Lane, and the main road is Indian Hot Springs. Well, they got the sign going the wrong way. I don't know. I checked. All the other signs are going the right way. Check, check. That looks like it's working. Check. Okay. Alright. Haven't done one of these for a while. This is typical for winter when I get the sun warming up. This end of the wall faces east, so it just feels good to be out here in the sun as opposed to the rest of the year where you do everything you can to stay out of the sun. Yeah. So today is the 10th of November, 2024. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Greetings to all my fellow veterans. Alright, let's try this again. I just spent, maybe half an hour, maybe longer, sitting out on the front step. It's beautiful outside. Recorded a video, told you everything that's going on. Camera wasn't working. Yeah, so that battery's on charge. It'll be a while. Let's just give up on that. We'll just do it this way anyway. So, what's going on? I'm gonna use parts of the other video, and we'll try to tie it together. So, what we're doing, I am again putting the ranch for sale. I never officially wasn't selling the ranch after, I think it was 2022. What happened was, I went on the bike trip for about 6 months. I came back in, August or September. And just immediately, part of it was just because, I'd had a good trip, and then I come home and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. So I made a video. I was going to sell the ranch. I'll use parts of that so you can see the ranch. What we're doing, the property is for sale again. Technically, I never took it off. Well, I never put it on the market. I just put up a video 2 years ago that I was going to sell the property. And then I kind of gave up on it. Nobody seemed like they were interested. So we're going to try again. I am officially listed with a real estate company. I got to meet with a realtor. Garrett is his name. I'll put his information up on screen. Any negotiations or whatever will go through him. The previous, when I made the video a couple of years ago, it's 40 acres of land. Obviously that hasn't changed. I was asking $50,000, which included the 40 acres, the house, the school bus if you want it. There's some outbuildings. There's water tanks. I'm set up to catch rainwater. When it does rain, I get drinking water from that. There's a fully functioning solar system. It's not big, and it's a little bit of a mix match. Some of it was donated parts. I now have lithium batteries, so that's working really well. I'm also leaving the generator, so if your batteries are dead, start the generator. I got some really good chargers on there now, so if you start it up for an hour on a cloudy day, you got more than a day's worth of power I can run the microwave, I can run the coffee maker. Some days I make waffles. I got an electric waffle iron. I can run that. I got a little mini fridge cooler that I can keep milk in if I want to. That part of it still works. What I would say is, what you do with it when you buy it is up to you. You may look at the house and decide you don't want to use it for a house. Well, you can live in the house while you build your better place. Or if you had an RV, you could live in the RV and use the house for storage or whatever, right? It's here, it works, it's got a good roof on it, it's dry. The power, the solar system, it works. It's not super big, but for one person it works great. And you got a starting point. The house is wired so you can, if you wanted to just run everything off of a generator, you could. If you wanted to hook up to on-grid, it's available on the other end of the property. It would cost you money to bring the power from where it is at the power line up to here, but it's at least possible. So, it's a great place to start. Some people get this wonderful romantic dream. They want to live off grid, but they don't really understand what it means. You could come out here and you have things that already work, and then you can decide what do you want to do with it. 2 years ago, it was 40 acres for $50,000. I think it'll probably be similar to that price. We're still working on the details, so just use that as a starting point. It might go up. I have no reason to sell it for a loss. Land out here, when it's available, was advertised at basically $20,000 for 20 acres. You're getting the 40 for, say, $50,000, so that's giving you $40,000 for the land. You're getting the house, the bus, the water system, and all of the solar and batteries and panels and wiring and everything for $10,000. You couldn't do it for that. I think I put $15,000 into the house when I built it. Shingles and that were expensive. And worth remembering, when I built the house, land, like OSB was $10 a sheet. During COVID, it was $40 a sheet. I think it's down to $20 a sheet, so it would cost you twice as much to build the house now as what I did. Okay, so if the house meets your needs, it's a bargain. It's unfinished inside. It is insulated on the front half. So all you'd have to do, you could do drywall, you could do like pine board, tongue and groove would look really nice. I always wanted to do that. The floor is just subfloor. You could do, tile floor or whatever. The back half, I insulated the walls, but I didn't insulate the ceiling yet. I do have a bunch of insulation if you wanted it. Whatever I don't need is probably going to get left here. So I think there's enough insulation to finish insulating. I just never bothered. You got a really good starting point here. But, for the people that have been watching this channel for the last 7 years since I've been out here, I'm kind of at a point where sell the land, buy a van, go exploring, and do the things that I would enjoy doing, things that I can't do now because I don't have time to do them. That's pretty much it. Anyway, as always, thanks for all your support. Thanks to the people who have been watching the videos regularly. Sorry I haven't been uploading lately. Honestly, this last year or two, I've been lost. I had a lot of days where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. Hopefully it's a long life. I don't have... there was things that I wanted to do that either I didn't have time or didn't have money to do. So what I'm hoping is by letting the land go, I can free up some options to do the things that I would really like to do. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye. And then I kind of got into the grind. I can't say I got into my groove. I just got into the grind a little bit and didn't say much about it because it didn't seem like anybody was interested. All right. And I just kind of got to thinking about it again last week or so. Where I'm at now in my life, financially, everything, I can't afford to do any of the things that I want to do here. That's it in a nutshell. There's a lot of projects that I might consider doing if I had money and time. I have neither right now. And so I've been looking around, what can I sell so that I can do something? I was going to, sell a camera or sell something, right? And none of what I own is really worth selling. It's got value to me because I already have it and it works, but it's not new, and so people would buy something new instead of what I have. Cameras, computers, that kind of thing, So I was, one day I was just kind of looking around and my eyes just kind of went out of focus, and I'm like, I saw the house and I'm like, well, technically I'm not poor, I'm just broke, but I have land and I have a house and I've got the school bus and things out here work. And I've taken it, this is what I said in the last video too, I've taken this as far as I really can. I can't do anything else with what I've got now because I just can't afford to. But if somebody else saw the value in this place, you could start here at the end of what I did in the last 7 years. Okay. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, is it still has value. It's just not the direction I want to go anymore. I'm ready for a new adventure. I can go do something else with the rest of my life. Now, for quite a while, I had looked at it as this was always going to be my base camp. I was going to use this as a place I would come back to at the end of an adventure. And then I could sit here and I could rebuild and I could recuperate. And then when I got bored enough, I'd load up and I'd go again. All right. But I'm not going to have any of what I really need to do that if I stay here. This kind of has 3 or 4 factors that all kind of come together. When I sold the truck, it's because I was sitting here and I wasn't planning on driving the truck. And if you let something sit here long enough, eventually it won't work anymore. Either the sun will bake the tires, or the mice will chew through all the wires, or random chaos, or, just, you can't just let something sit. So I sold the truck, and then 4 years later, I really don't regret that. The problem was I now don't have a practical way to get to a job that's further than town here. I bicycle, I've been saying lately, I work 7 or 8 days a week right now. I work for a little motel. I was supposed to be the maintenance guy. The housekeepers both quit one day, and so I took over housekeeping. My income tripled because instead of working 2 or 3 days a week, I worked every day. And, okay. But that also means I have 0 time to do anything that I want to do. That's been the problem. It's like, yeah, you either have money or you have time. Never both at the same time. All right. So what I'm looking at is, we'll sell the ranch. I will buy a vehicle, probably a van or a U-Haul truck. Convert it to be, I don't even want to call it a motorhome because that's too nice. Something I can live in, though. Sell the ranch, buy the van or the truck. First, and this is the genius about starting with a U-Haul truck. Whatever I want to keep will go in one pile. Whatever is just trash, because there's stuff that's out here that I can't practically haul it out of here on a bicycle. And so there's things that have just stayed here because it's not worth the trouble trying to move it to the dump. All right. There's a lot of stuff that I'm probably going to donate. I'll find places, like if I can find a little bike shop, I'll take all of my leftover bicycle parts and just give it to somebody. And then somebody can actually use it, right? Nobody in this county knows how to ride a bicycle, so I'm not really worried about giving it to anybody local here. Tools and stuff like that. There's places called maker spaces, and there's different names for it. But basically, think of a warehouse that's got every tool that you would ever wish to have. You pay to use the tools. It could be a monthly membership or a daily use or something like that. You can take a class on how to weld, and they've got all the stuff there. And then after you learn how to weld, then you can weld whatever you want to weld on their welders. Some of them even have the material. So if you wanted to build something, you could buy the steel from them, use their welder, and then take your thing home at the end of the day, right? Some of them are even set up. You can take a car there and rebuild the car, and then bring it home when it's finished. So it's kind of a neat program. So there's a lot of stuff that I have that would probably do somebody some good if I could just donate it. Like my welder I've had for well before I built the house. I've had it for 5 years. I've had a lot of fun with it. Okay, when when I do the van, I'm going to weld furniture for in the van, right? So if you've ever watched any van life videos, if they take it off-road at all, eventually all that really nicely made cabinetry just breaks because wood isn't made to do that, So I'm going to weld, I'm thinking if I can weld a steel skeleton for my bed frame, my computer desk, maybe my kitchen cabinet, and then bolt that down to the inside of the van, then it won't break when I hit a bump. That's the idea. And then when I'm done welding and everything, probably will then let the welder go. Okay. So that's kind of the direction I'm going. What would I do with all the time? I've got about 4.5 years, well, on the screen there, June 2029 is when I'm eligible for early Social Security. So it's the matter of managing the gap between now and then. But if I can sell the land, get the van, I'll have money left over. During the COVID years, I was living on $150 a month anyway. The trick will be don't drive 500 miles every day, like is what I'm used to doing. When I jump in a vehicle, I would just, zip across the countryside. What I'm looking at now, I could make some van life travel videos once in a while. But I think my biggest goal is to continue writing the books that I started a few years ago. The Mars Clipper books, which were basically spaceships and rockets and robots and stuff like that. It's one of those projects that nobody bought, but I enjoyed doing, and it was kind of a project that I really can't get into for an hour a day after working a shift and then bicycling home. I've tried a few times and I just can't get into it. But when I had nothing else to do, I could sit there for hours and write. And, so that's kind of what I want to do. Won't make any money, probably. Historically, people don't buy my books anymore, or ever, but whatever, don't care. I'm at a point where money is nice and useful, but if you enjoy what you're doing, you'll do it for free. And there's some things that I have had to do for money that are just not enjoyable, and I just want to do something that I enjoy for a while, or forever. Okay. I've found that I have a really bad relationship with people and money and work and society in general. And the further I can get away from all of that, the better. So, yeah. Just pick up take what I need, and it's going to be massively downsized. It's like, well, I don't need most of what is here. It's just that between the house and the bus, I had somewhere to store the stuff. All right, so it's just going to be, keep 1% of what I've got and whatever fits in the van, and the rest I don't need. The van will be set up with solar and batteries, and plus I can charge the van while I'm driving it, and I may end up taking a little generator with me that I've got so I can top off the batteries if I need to. What I hope to be able to accomplish is drive an hour or two, find a place like BLM kind of a land where it's public land. You can stay for a couple weeks, just pick up your trash when you leave, leave tracks and take pictures basically, and then go somewhere else. And so every couple weeks I could roll into town, load up my water tank, go buy some food at the Walmart, dump my trash, and go somewhere else. Okay. Some of that is what I was hoping to be able to do here. The problem is I don't have the money to live and keep the property. So sell the property, get the van, then I can afford to live. Now in the future, one possibility, I don't remember if this was even talked about really on the channel. I was looking at a job up in Alaska. The job is probably still there. I just wasn't able to piece everything together to get there. So if I worked, sell the property, get the van, live in the van in Alaska, work for a year, then I'd be set. And then go travel after that. I'd be better off. But where I'm at now, there is very few jobs, and most of them don't make any money. To get a better job, I would need a way to get to a better job, which would mean either a vehicle or rent an apartment where the jobs are, which that's not getting closer to what I really wanted to do. It's just going to be sign a year lease to get an apartment that's going to cost $1,000 a month, and then you may, it's like what I found from living out here before. I ended up taking a job at a Sam's Club on the opposite side of El Paso, pushing shopping carts, because that was the only job I could find. And the only reason I got that job is I kept going to interviews. At least they were calling for interviews. I'd get to the store and the store had no idea I was coming. They actually had no job. For whatever reason, the computer system was generating job leads, and the local manager was like, no, we don't need that. And after the third time, I went to 3 different interviews. I'm like, what do you got? I'll push shopping carts. I don't care. And then they got excited because they had a hard time getting somebody to push shopping carts. I'm like, all right, well, I can do that. And I was, it's not a high skill job, but I was like, well, I've got good legs from riding the bike. I had no trouble pushing shopping carts all day. And I was like, well, I'm not going to drive 100 miles to get home from El Paso. So I was living in my pickup, taking showers at the gym so that I could push shopping carts. And I'm like, well, this is a short-term solution, but it wasn't like it was going to work out for very long. So I did that for a while and then quit. Here we are. But it's been. I work at the little motel. It's been a job of convenience. They put me to work when they need me. Since nobody else seems to be able to do the job, I pretty much have a guaranteed income as long as I want to be there. But I'm doing a lot of hours, and it's taking me more than an hour to get to work and an hour to get home. And then I'm in the wind and the weather and whatever is happening, and then I don't get anything done at home. Today is a rare day off. It's most weeks I'm doing 7 days a week. It's only 5 or 6 hours a day, so I'm making some money, but I'm in my 50s. It's not really what I thought I'd be doing at this point in my life. So, yeah, I kind of looked at could I get another job? This close to the border, I don't speak Spanish. Very few people want to hire somebody that's white down here. That's been interesting. Yeah, it's like, well, if I could speak Spanish, I could probably get all the jobs. But I already worked at the post office where 90% of my customers were Mexicans, and I had no idea what they were talking about, and it was very frustrating for both of us. I'm like, oh, you seem like nice people, but I don't know what you need. So I'm not going to go through that again. I don't want to leave. I don't want to move to a colder climate at this point. If I had money, I'd go to Guam again. That was something I talked about a few years ago. It's like, yeah, if I could live tropical, I'd be all over that. I don't think my van can swim to Guam, so that's probably not going to work. There was things that I wanted to do that either I didn't have time or didn't have money to do. So what I'm hoping is by letting the land go, I can free up some options to do the things that I would really like to do. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.